Hello students. So in the last session we have discussed different mechanical properties. So today we will review those mechanical properties and later we will study technological properties. See, if you see here what we studied in the last session, we have studied different properties of materials. In that one we have studied mechanical properties like strength, tensile strength, compressive strength, shear strength. See here, strength, tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength. And later we have discussed stiffness, elasticity, plasticity. Okay. So these properties we have discussed in the previous session, and ductility, brittleness, malleability, resilience, toughness, hardness, fatigue, creep. These things we have studied in the last session and we have discussed elaborately about these properties. And so after studying this, we are able to define those properties and we are able to understand the concept of those properties. I'm repeating once again. See here, what are the mechanical properties we have studied? Strength, in that one, tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength, stiffness, elasticity, plasticity, ductility, brittleness, malleability, resilience, toughness, hardness, fatigue, creep. So these things we have studied in the previous session. So today what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss a very important manufacturing aspect, that is various technological properties. These technological properties are very useful in the manufacturing process. In the manufacturing of different manufacturing processes, we are using these technological properties of this material. So what is meant by technological properties, we will see now. See here, what is meant by a technological property. See, I will show you. See, what is meant by technological property? So these technological properties are very useful to select a material for a particular manufacturing or technological process. If you see here, so if you want to do some manufacturing process or manufacturing operation or a technological process, you have to select a material such that it should be able to uh, we should able to perform operations by using that manufacturing process. So if the material is not having that property, we are unable to use that manufacturing process. So the quality of metal inform that the suitability of various manufacturing or technological process is called technological properties. So if it is having that property, then only we can use that material for that particular manufacturing process. That property is known as technological property. So the property by which we are using that material for a particular manufacturing process or a technological process, then that property is known as technological property of that material. Okay, so I will give some examples here, then you can easily understand what is meant by this technological properties. Okay, see here, we are having see here we are having various technological properties. What are those technological properties? Those technological properties are, first one, machinability. Okay, so generally we heard the word machinability. So in most of the manufacturing subjects, we will hear this word machinability, and we will come across in most of the cases machinability word we will hear, and we are able to understand what is meant by machinability. and later weldability. So all these terms are related to manufacturing process, formability, castability, hardenability, strain hardening. So all this comes under technological properties of materials. So machinability, it is a relevant to manufacturing process, weldability, formability, castability, hardenability, strain hardening. So whatever the technological property you will take, it is related to manufacturing process, because we are using these properties for choosing a material for a particular manufacturing process or a manufacturing operation. Okay, so we will see here what is meant by machinability. Okay, see what is meant by machinability. So we will generally we will come across this word machinability. So what is meant by machinability? Everyone should understand what is meant by machinability. Without knowing this, we are unable to uh, judge which is useful for machining operation and which is not useful for machining operation. That means which can be machined easily and which cannot be machined easily. So for that one, we have to understand the word machinability. If you see here, I will explain. The property of a metal which indicates the ease, not its case, ease, it can be cut or removed by cutting tools. So what it means, so how easily you can machine it, that property is known as machinability. So how much easily you can cut or remove extra material by using a cutting tool. So if you see here, easily cut or removed by cutting tools, that means how easily you can remove the extra material or you can cut a material, that property is known as machinability. So for example, if you want to, you are having a raw material, it is having extra size, so you want to remove that unwanted material from that one. So what is machining generally? What is machining? Machining is nothing but removing extra material, unwanted material. To get the required size and shape, we have to remove that extra unwanted material. So that process is known as machining. So what we are doing here, we are removing the extra material. We are removing the extra material. So here, if you remove that extra material very easily, then we can say that that material is having good machinability. If it is very hard, if it is very difficult to machine, difficult to remove that extra material, it is very difficult to machine, then we can say that it is having poor machinability properties. It is not having good machinability properties. So for machining operations, which materials we require? A material which is having good machinability properties. So for that one, here we are defining it, the ease with which we can machine easily. That means how much easily we can cut a material by using a cutting tool. That property is known as machinability. See here, it depends on the mechanical and physical properties of the metal. So this machinability depends on mechanical as well as physical properties. Already we have discussed different types of properties. We are having chemical properties, physical properties, mechanical properties, and dimensional properties. So it depends on the mechanical properties and physical properties. It also depends on structure of metal, composition, and cutting parameters also. So these also influence the machinability. If the cutting parameters are not good, what is the cutting parameters? Cutting parameters are not nothing but your cutting speed, feed, and depth of cut like this. So if the parameters varies, your machinability varies. So it will influence your machinability. Okay. So we have to choose proper cutting parameters. So composition and structure of metal. So all this plays a vital role in deciding the machinability. So material process machinability will improve the surface finish and tool life. What it means? See, if it is having good machinability properties, then you will get good surface finish and the tool life will be more. So you will be having more tool life. You will be having more tool life. Tool life will be more. If you see here, if the machinability is good, if the machinability for a material is good, then you will be having good surface finish. After machining, you will obtain good surface finish, and the tool life will be more. If it is the machinability is not good, that means it is very hard to machine, then surface finish you will not get properly, and the tool life will not give a, a longer value. That means it easily worn out. Your tool will be worn out very easily. That means your tool life will be very less. Okay, so this is machinability. I'm repeating once again. See here, machinability is a good property of metal. It is useful for manufacturing, generally for machining operation. Okay, so what is meant by machinability? Machinability is nothing but the ease with which we can machine or cut it by using cutting tools. If we cut very easily, then we can say that it is having good machinability property. If we, it is very difficult to cut it, or if we very difficult to machine it, then we can say that it is having poor machinability property. But how this machinability property depends on various factors. If you see here, it depends on the mechanical and physical properties. So we know that what are the different mechanical properties already we have discussed. So physical properties generally we will study in physics. Okay, so it depends. Machinability is depends on the mechanical and physical properties, and it also depends structure of the metal, composition of the metal, and cutting parameters. Cutting parameters like cutting speed, feed, depth of cut. So these things also influence the machinability property. But how it influence the output? Output means you are converting a raw material into finished product, so you need a good surface finish after machining. So if the machinability is good, you will get good surface finish, and tool life will be more. If the machinability is not good, you will not get proper surface finish, and the tool life will be less. Okay, so this is machinability. This machinability word we will come across in all the manufacturing process, all the manufacturing, that means machining operations, all the machining operations. So we should able to understand what is meant by machinability. So machinability means we can easily machine. If we easily machine, that means we can it is having good machinability property. If it is very difficult to machine, that means it is having poor machinability property. So the next one is weldability. See here, weldability. So weldability, the name itself indicates for welding purpose. So you are taking two metals, it should be welded. If they are able to weld properly, then we can say that they are having good weldable property. So that means the ability of material to be joined by welding is known as weldability. If they are able to join together, the two parts are able to be joined together by using welding process, then we can say that it's a weldability is good. That means they are able to be welded. All materials are not to be welded. Okay, those property, those metals which are having weldability property can be welded easily. So that's why this property is very important in the welding operation. So if you want to join two metals or two pieces by using welding, they should have weldable property. So that's why we can say that it is the ability of the material, it is the ability of the material to be joined by welding. So they should be able to join by using welding, then only we can say that it is having weldability property. That property is known as weldability. So ease with which can metal can be welded. So material process weldability can produce stronger and lifelong joints. If it is having good weldable property, they can be joined stronger, so you will be having a good joint. If it is not having weldability property, you will not get a good joint. You will not get a good joint. So that's why for welding operations, the material should have good weldable property. This is related to weldability. I'm repeating once again. Weldability is nothing but is the ability of the material to get welded. So if they are easily to get welded, then we can say that the material is having good weldability property. Because of this weldability property, we may have stronger joint and long life joint. That the life of the joint will be more if it is joint stronger. And the next one is formability. Okay, so forming operations. So we have to convert the raw material into different sizes and different shapes. So it should be able to convert it into different sizes and different shapes. Then that property is known as formability. So we can use this property in the forming operations. So we are converting into raw material into different shapes of as per our applications. So this is nothing but, if you see here, the property of metal which indicates the ease with which can be formed into different shapes and sizes. Different shapes and sizes. How much easily we can convert into different size and shapes. So if it is easily converted into different shapes and sizes, we can say that it is having good formability property. So it is a desirable characteristics for farming operations. You are having different farming operations, whether it is cold working operation or whether it is a hard working operation. So we are having plenty of cold working operations, plenty of hard working operations. Okay. So cold working means below recirculation temperature and hard working means above recirculation temperatures. So for such operations, this is the desirable characteristic, desirable property. If it is having good formability formability property, so we can easily convert them into good uh, in the good manner. That means it will be converted into easily into different sizes and shapes of good quality. That is very important. Okay, if it is not having good formability property, you will not get proper products. That means you will not get a quality product. So you get, if you want to get a quality formable product, it should have good formability property. Okay, so I am repeating once again, this formability property is generally used in forming operations, whether it is a cold working operation or is a hard working operation. So cold working operation is nothing but below recirculation temperature, and hard working operation is nothing but above recirculation temperature. So if you want to convert a material, a raw material into different shapes and sizes, it should be formed. Okay, it is easy. If it is easily formable, then we can say that it is having good formability. If it is very difficult to form, then we can say that it is not having good formability property. So this property is desirable in cold working and hard working operations, where we are forming different shapes and sizes. Okay, so and the next one is castability. Okay, so already we know that casting is a manufacturing process. So here, so how easily we can cast? How easily? That means the ease with which we can cast a material is called castability. If it is easily castable, then we can say that it is having good castability property. If it is very difficult to be casted, then we can say that it is not having good castability property. So generally we know that cast iron, zinc alloys, lead alloys, these will possess good casting properties, good casting properties, castability properties. So generally we are having this cast iron. Cast iron is easily castable, and zinc based alloys and lead based alloys, these will produce good castability, good castings. That means they are easily castable. Okay, so I'm repeating once again, castability. So castability is nothing but the ease with which we can cast easily is known as castability. So if we cast the material very easily, we can say that it is having good castability. If it is very difficult to cast, if it is very difficult to cast a material, then we can say that it is having poor castability. Okay, if you see this cast iron, zinc and lead, these gives good castability. Here castability means we are casting that material into different shapes and different sizes. In the previous one, we are formed into different shapes and sizes. Here also, we are casting, we are using the material uh, manufacturing process is different, but we are converting them into different shapes and sizes. Okay. So for that one, if it is easy to convert means easy to cast that different shapes and sizes, we can say that the castability is good. Okay. So this is a castability property. And next, hardenability. Okay, what is meant by hardenability? Okay, so hardenability means when you go for the quenching operation, when you go for the quenching operation, when you go for the quenching operation, after quenching, what will happen? The surface will be get hardened. Quenching is nothing but dipping in oil or water, dipping in oil in water. So after heating, what we are doing? We are dipping into oil or water. So what will happen? The surface will be get hardened. Okay, that property is known as hardenability. If it is easily hardenable, that means the depth of hardening is more, then we can say that this hardening is good. If you see here, hardenability is indicated by greater depth of hardening below the surface. So if it is more depth is hardened, then we can say that the hardenability is good for that material. If it is only less depth is hardened, then it say that it is having only small amount. It is poor hardenability. We can say the poor hardenability. If it is you get more depth, then we can say that good hardenability. If it is small depth, we can say that it is having poor hardenability. So this hardenability property is used when you go for the quenching operation. So quenching operation, after quenching operation, what you will get? You will get hardening. So the surface gets hardened to certain depth. Okay, if the depth is more, we can say that it is having good hardenability property. If the depth is less, it is having poor hardenability property. Okay, so this is hardenability property. I'm repeating once again. Hardening is nothing but hardening of the material to certain depth of the surface of the material to certain depth after quenching operation. If the depth is more, we can say that it is having good hardenability property. If the depth is less, we can say that it is having poor hardenability property. Okay, so this property is used in heat treatment process for surface hardening, surface hardening or case hardening cases. Strain hardening. If you see the strain hardening process, strain hardening means if you work on a material at room temperature, if you work on a material at room temperature, due to plastic deformation, what will happen? It will get hardened. That is known as strain hardening or work hardening. If you work on a material, if you work on a material, if you work on a material, what will happen? It gets if you work on a material, it gets hardened. That is known as strain hardening or work hardening. Strain hardening or work hardening. Okay, so strain hardening or strengthening effect produced. Strengthening means it becomes strong because of this working, cold working operation. That means at room temperature, below recrystallization temperature. Okay, because of that one, it is getting hardened. That is, it is becoming achieving. It is gaining strength due to this plastic deformation. Okay, that is known as strain hardening. Strain hardening. Okay, or work hardening. So I'm repeating once again. Strain hardening or work hardening. Strain hardening, it is nothing but strengthening effect that is produced by plastic deformation when cold working takes place at room temperature. So when you work on a metal, when you work on a material, what will happen? Due to plastic deformation, it gains strength. That property is known as strain hardening or work hardening. Because of the work what we are doing on that one, because of the strain produced in the material when you work on that one, it is getting hardened. That is known as strain hardening. Okay, So we have discussed machinability property, weldability property, castability property, and hardening property, and stain hardening property. Okay. So with this one, we have completed mechanical properties as well as technological properties. Mechanical properties are nothing but how a material behaves when external loads are acting on that one. And what is meant by these technological properties? Technological properties are very useful in the manufacturing operations, whether the material is suitable for that particular manufacturing operation or not. Okay. So we will see, now we will see the summary what we have discussed. See, till now what we have discussed, okay. So we have discussed the different properties, that is the characteristics of material are nothing but the properties of materials. In that one, we have studied mechanical properties. In that one, we have studied mechanical properties. Mechanical properties are nothing but how it behaves when the external loads acts on it. How it behaves when the external loads acts on it. So the property which indicates suitable for manufacturing are known as technological properties. Just now we have discussed. Okay. So till now we have discussed properties. In that one, mechanical properties, and later we have discussed technological properties, which are very, very useful for selecting a material for a particular manufacturing process. So what are the questions generally they will ask, they may ask? So which type of questions come across in the examination on these topics if you see here? What are the mechanical properties of a material? So list out what is meant by mechanical properties. What is meant by? Okay. So how a material or behaves when the external loads act on it, that shows the mechanical properties, right? So name various mechanical properties of materials. So we are having different various mechanical properties are there. Okay, those are nothing but strength, tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength. Okay, stiffness, plasticity, elasticity, ductility, brittleness, hardness. Okay, creep, fatigue. All this comes under your mechanical properties. So they may ask sometimes definitions of all the properties you should understand, you should know. They may ask any property for the definition. So elasticity, hardness, fatigue, creep. You may be asked anything. Okay, we will see some quiz questions here. So which of the following is a brittle material? So what is meant by brittle material? Brittle material is nothing but, so without noticeable deformation, it will fracture. Okay, so which of this one? If you see copper, mild steel, and gold, this comes under ductile material. So this is one. Glass is the brittle material. So your glass is the brittle material because without noticeable deformation, without noticeable permanent deformation, it will fracture when you apply the load. And if you see the second one, which of the following is harder material? So which is having more hardness? What is meant by hardness? So it is the ability of the material to resist indentation, penetration, and scratching and cut. So which is having more hardness? Automatically diamond. Okay, compared to your aluminum and silver. So which of the following experience fatigue property? Okay, fatigue. What is meant by fatigue? So application of repeated and reversal loads. So in which application this will possible? If you take rails, connecting rods, springs. So all the applications will experience fatigue because in every application you may have that is repeated and reversal type of loading. So that's why the answer will be all the above. And which of the following is a technological properties? We have studied different technological properties, that is machinability, weldability, castability, hardening, stain hardening, hardenability, stain hardening, all these things we have studied, right? So which is the answer? All are technological properties. What is meant by technological property? Technological property is nothing but the property which is useful for selecting a material for a particular manufacturing process. All. So generally, what are the frequently frequent questions they will ask. Say list out different properties. So especially for mechanical properties here, define tensile strength, compressive strength, shear strength, define technological properties. What is meant by technological property, and what are the technological properties we are having? Okay, technological properties are nothing but so the property which is useful for selecting a material for using one manufacturing process or a different manufacturing process. What are the different technological properties we are having? Machinability, castability, weldability, okay, and hardenability, stain hardening. All this comes under technological properties. So with this one, we are concluding here. So here we have concluding in the sense we have concluding the properties. So we have concluding the properties, mechanical properties and technological properties. So here we have studied what is meant by a property, okay, and how many types of properties are there. In that one, for a mechanical engineer, what properties are very essential to learn? That is mechanical properties. And in that mechanical properties, we have listed different mechanical properties and we have defined all the mechanical properties. Later we have discussed technological properties. So what is meant by technological property, and a list of technological property which are useful for in the manufacturing process, which is dealt by mechanical engineers. Okay, so with this one we are concluding the properties session. Okay, hello students. So in the last session we have discussed different properties of materials and different mechanical properties of materials and different technological properties of materials, and later we have discussed some quiz questions and question and answers. Okay, so in this session we are going to discuss testing of materials. Okay, so we are saying that materials are having different mechanical properties, but how to measure those mechanical properties, how to find out those mechanical properties? For that one, we are having some testing procedures. So those procedures we will study in the coming sessions. Before going into the detailed description of the testing procedures, we should understand what is meant by a test and how many types of tests are there and what we are doing in a testing procedure. These things we will discuss in this session. See here, in the previous sessions, what we have discussed different mechanical properties or different properties. First, initially we have discussed different properties and later we have discussed different mechanical properties. So properties we can classify into different types. Already we have discussed chemical properties, physical properties, mechanical properties and dimensional properties. And coming to mechanical properties, so as a mechanical engineer we are interested in mechanical properties, and these mechanical properties describes the behavior of metal when it is subjected to external loads. So already we have discussed different mechanical properties like strength, stiffness, elasticity, plasticity, brittleness, hardness, ductility, malleability, creep, fatigue. All these things we have discussed in the previous sessions. So here, what we are going to discuss. See here. So, to find out different properties, that is one property is strength. So in this session, we are going to discuss. So to know the strength, we are going to conduct different tests. So how many types of tests are there? If you want to find out tensile strength, which type of test is there? If you want to find out shear strength, which type of test is there? Okay. So those things we are, and which type of equipment we are going to use to find out those different types of strengths. So for that one, we are having different equipment. Those things we are going to discuss in the coming sessions. And the very important topic is we should we are having two types of tests, that is a destructive type of testing and a non-destructive type of testing. So we should have a clear idea about destructive testing and non-destructive testing. So here we will discuss in detail regarding destructive and non-destructive tests. So in the introduction, if you see here, We see here in the introduction, so we already know that strength is the property of all solid materials. Strength. So what is meant by strength? Already we have discussed. Strength is nothing but the ability of material to resist loads without failure. So without failure, if it is able to resist the loads, then it is called its strength. So every material is having, every solid material is having strength. Okay. So strength is the ability of material to sustain loads without failure. Just now we have discussed. So strength is nothing but ability of material to resist loads, to sustain loads or resist loads without failure. So without failure, if it is able to sustain loads, then we can call it as strength. So generally, we know that it can be expressed in terms of load per unit area. Load per unit area, that is nothing but Newton per mm square or kilonewtons per mm square. Like that, we will express this strength. Okay. So here what we have discussed is, here we have discussed what is strength. Already we know that strength is nothing but it is the ability of material to resist loads without failure. And the strength is expressed in terms of load per unit area, that is nothing but kilonewtons per mm square or newtons per mm square, like that. Okay. See, what we are going to discuss here in the testing of materials. In testing of materials, what we will do, see, components designed to sustain loads have necessary mechanical strength to satisfy the requirement condition. What it means? So, if you want to manufacture some products, you are choosing some material. The material should have sufficient strength to meet the service requirements. If you want to make a ball bearing, so that ball bearing material should have a mechanical strength to sustain such a it should sustain the load without failure. Then we can call it as it's a mechanical strength for that material. So what is the requirement? What is the service requirement for that ball bearing? So it should not wear out very easily. So the wearing capacity should be more. The it should not be worn out easily. That means it should have hardness values, high hardness values. So that's why we have to test the material to know the different properties of the materials. So here we are doing that testing procedures to find out different mechanical properties. So components are designed to sustain loads in such a way that the mechanical strength should satisfy the service requirements. So service requirements varies from application to application. So what is your application and what are the service requirements? So it may, in some applications you may have more hardness, in some applications you may have less hardness, in some applications you may have more tensile strength, in some applications you may have more compression strength. So based on your requirements, service requirements, we have to choose a material which is having that type of strength or that type of mechanical property. In other words, strength or the properties such as hardness, toughness can be determined by conducting mechanical test. So we are saying that hard material is required or soft material is required, more tensile strength material is required, less compressive strength material is required, more shear strength is required. So how we should know which material is having how much tensile strength and how much compressive strength? By testing only we can say that this material is having this much strength, this material is having this much compression strength, this much material is having this much shear strength. Okay, so that's why we should conduct tests, mechanical tests. So in this session we are going to discuss the various tests that could be performed on materials to find out different properties, mechanical properties. Okay, I'm repeating once again here. So why we have to do the testing of materials. Why we have to perform testing on different materials? Because we are designing components such that it should it should re, uh, reach the service requirements. That means it should satisfy the service requirements of the different applications. So if it is having sufficient mechanical properties, that means the required mechanical properties, then only it can meet the service requirements of that component. So for that purpose, we have to go for the testing. So what we will do in the testing of materials? So we'll find out different mechanical properties like hardness, toughness, all these things we will find out, and which material is having which value we will note down, and from that one we will choose a material which meets the service requirement for our application. Okay, next. So types of tests. So how many types of tests are there? Okay, see here. So if we classify broadly, we are having two types of tests. Two types of tests are there. One is destructive test. One is destructive test, and the second one is non-destructive test. Okay, so we can classify all the tests that can be performed on the materials can be classified into two types. One is destructive testing, and the second one is non-destructive testing. So what is meant by this destructive testing? So what is meant by destructive test? The name itself indicates destruction. That means we are breaking the material, we are breaking the specimen, we are fracturing the specimen. Then only we will find out the property. Okay. So this type of test will result the specimen to fracture. So destruction. So the specimen will be get fracture. That means it will be broken under the loads no longer for further useful. So here what we will do in the destructive test, we will apply the loads on the specimen such that it should fail. It should fail means it should fracture. So we cannot reuse that specimen again. Only for one time we can use that specimen, because after use it will not be useful for again for the test because it fractures. So it is not used, we cannot use it again. Reuse is not possible. So destruction. So we are applying a force that it should fail, it should fracture. Okay, that type of test is known as destructive test. This destructive test is to find out mechanical properties. So destruction test. What is the first one? Destructive test, and the second one is non-destructive test. So in destructive test, we are going to fracture the component to find out the mechanical properties. So we are going to fracture it. So we are unable to use it again. That means reuse is not possible. And next, so destructive test. If you see the destructive test, what are the things we are going to find out in the destructive test? If you see here, by conducting this test, we can assess mechanical properties. I already told you. By using this destructive test, we can find out the mechanical properties. So already we have studied what are the different mechanical properties. See here, these are the different mechanical properties we are having. See, strength, toughness, hardness, okay, stress strain is nothing but related to strength only. Okay, this strain is nothing but elongation, deformation. All this can be performed by using these can be uh, calculated by using this mechanical test. Okay, in that mechanical test, destructive test. Okay, by using this destructive test, we can find out strength, toughness, hardness, stress, strain. This stress strain we can find out by using a UTM machine, in the compression test, in the tensile test also. Okay, so by using these destructive tests, we can find out different mechanical properties. So what is meant by destructive test? Destructive test, In the destructive test, we are applying a load such that it should fracture. So after fracture only we can find out how much strength it can bear. Okay, from that we can say that up to this load it can bear. After that it will fail. So that will become its strength. So the material is going to fracture. So we are unable to use it again. That means reuse is not possible in this one. What we are going to find out in this destructive type of testing. Here we are going to find out different mechanical properties such as strength, toughness, hardness, stress, and strain. These things we are going to find out in these destructive tests. Okay, so classification of destructive test. So these destructive tests are classified into different types. So how we are classifying? Okay, so what is the criteria for classification? So here we are having different criteria. The first one is, if you see, so according to the nature of load applied, which type of load you are applying? Which type of load you are applying? Static load. First one is, if you apply the static load, load is applied on the specimen gradually, slowly. If you apply the loads gradually, then it is called as static load. That is, it is not varying. It is not varying with respect to time. You are applying, but slowly you are applying that load. Okay, it is not fluctuating. It is not the fluctuating load. It is the not a fluctuating load. It is. So the load is applied gradually, slowly. It is not fluctuating. So that type of load tests are known as static tests. Static test. So what is meant by static test? Load is applied on the specimen gradually. Shall be gradually. Shall, S-H-A-L-L. Shall be gradually. So gradually what we are doing? Gradually increasing. That means it is not suddenly increasing. It is not fluctuating type. It is slowly increasing. That type of load is known as static load or static test. That type of test is known as static test. So in that one, in the static test, we can perform tension test, compression test, shear test, hardness test, and bending and torsion test. These tests can be performed by using your slowly applied loads. Slowly applied loads. Okay. So in this session, what we have discussed different types of what is meant by a test and different types of test. And in that one, we are discussing destructive test. So we are just started the destructive test. So for this session, this is I am here concluding this session, and in the coming sessions we will discuss again this destructive test.